Hello and welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today we're going to show you something. It's a new take on a traditional block. Now, this block was originally called Arrows or something like that. There was a lot of names for some of these older blocks, but then I decided to change it and make it my own, just by adding a couple of different design elements and doing things a little bit easier for flying geese construction and all of the rest. But first, I want to introduce you to Izzy at Dizzy Quilts and Sews. Her YouTube channel is very interesting. She's got a new twist and take on a lot of, her voice is very unique, let's put it that way. So if you go check her out and you share, like, and subscribe, make sure you tell her that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you to her channel. Also, some of you are still not subscribed, and we're hoping that, you know, if you do like what you're seeing here, to share, like, and subscribe with your friends. There's also a little bell that tells you when we drop stuff. We drop stuff Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so we have 3 free patterns a week for you. So if you like what you're seeing here, please do subscribe to us. We also have a Facebook group. There's the link in the show notes, as well as the link for the Zoom sew date, which is a once-a-month virtual sew date with everybody. But our Facebook group also has a virtual sewing room where you have a virtual sew date 24/7, 365 days of the year. So come on in. Let's take a new take on arrows. Okay, here we are at the sewing machine. And like I say, we've got a few things we have to do first, right? And what we're going to do is these kinds of units, this shorter, smaller unit here. And there's one right in the middle, so we're going to start there too. Basically, you take I've had so many requests to do stuff with the 2.5-inch squares that people have, or strips, that we've now changed a lot of our blocks that we were going to teach into larger blocks so you can use them. We also have, you know, people, I don't really know what size scraps you have in your sewing room, so I guess I'm guessing a lot of the times. Okay, so we line this up, and you can either sew this from the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter, but we're going to do all of that kind of a subunit first, just to get this going through. Because this block has lots of little pieces, but it's okay. They come together very quickly, you know. So it's not a hard block. And you do 5 of them. There we go. Yeah, I saw this and I was like, okay, there's pointing arrows, but there's all sorts of other things. So I kind of took this traditional block and played with it and kind of made it my own thing. And I was sitting there, oh, we could play with the corners as well by putting another, you know, piece block. But I thought, yeah, no, maybe not. So yeah, we're going to go just push the pink out of the way. And I found the perfect pink that goes with this blue, because it's all, that pink is in the blue. So I thought, okay, well, we can play with that. Just, you know, 3 colors. And I had enough pink in my scraps. So I figured, okay, there we go. We can do this. We can do this block. But I was thinking what would be really cool in the corners here would be a beam block or tight block. And then you'd have points coming from the corners as well. That would be sharp. But you can make that adjustment if you'd like. That's, you know, if you're a quilt block, if you want to put some extra stuff into it, you can. Certainly most do that. That's awesome. But, I don't know. So the cutting instructions don't, and I have just done a beam block not that long ago where this is a paper piece or a template. So, you know, there's stuff that you can draw from. Okay, so let's get this all. Okay, and we'll just finger press them out real quick. The finger pressing, I know you guys laugh at me about the finger pressing because I have nails. I have fingernails, but my fingernails aren't very long, but they're sharp. They work well. Now, I'm just gonna take this one. It's the same size, so. Now, cutting your strips to size is a really good way of managing this. Okay, and we're just gonna trade around the piece, so I'm gonna put this piece here instead. There. Now, it doesn't matter which way you go on these. You either go in or you go out, right? And we'll just finish up that center unit before we have to change feet. I guess I probably should have did the flying goose units first. Now there is a way to do that 4 at a time, and if you want, put in the comments below that you want me to demonstrate the 4 at a time flying geese method. I have tried it. I like it. The problem I find with some of that sometimes is my scraps aren't big enough. So that's why I do other things. So let's get this one off, this foot off, and switch over and now start working on our flying geese units. I think this block would look great with a little sashing along the side, and maybe some, cornerstone that was a fussier cornerstone. So what we're gonna do, I have ironed these. So I already have a line, right, because of the ironing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do all of them this way first. We're just going to take our time and line it up. Now when we're sewing them like this, we want to just be on this side of the line. We just want to be up and kissing the line, not actually sewing on the line, because you need to have room for the turn of the cloth. And this is our center one that's done. It's kind of a cute little, well, it doesn't matter which way you go. Okay, so we're just gonna finish taking off the rest of the flying geese and doing the one arm and then the other arm. And we'll get to our block. Yeah, the 4 at a time flying geese is great with the problem, but the problem is if you're working with smaller scraps, you might not have scraps large enough to do this, right? So that's going to create problems. But I mean, it's not some. This is why I use this method, because I find, the little flip and stitch blocks that I get out of here, they're fun to play with. They're fun to work with, right? So I make little pinwheels, or I make a little this or a little that out of them, and it's all good. Okay, last bit. Oops. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish off these and then start on the other side. There we go. There. Oh, I always thought, I was sitting there thinking sitting one day I had some time, and I was like, okay, let's work on our lesson plans. Okay, I have good coverage. I'm just going to clip this off, just like so. Grab another triangle to do the other side. So I actually was thinking, okay, we need to do the psychedelic snowflake, and if I asked in our Facebook group if you guys would like to do that one, and we had a lot of positive responses. It is a foundation paper piecing, and not all of you like foundation paper piecing, but it is such a fun one to do, and the quilt looks like stained glass when you're done, so it looks just amazing. Just amazing. Okay, let's get that one off. That one works. Ooh, a little thin on that. I clipped it a little thin, but it'll work. It'll work. So yeah. Some of you don't like foundation paper piecing, and the rest of you just love it. So, once you get the hang of it, there's lots of pieces in that, and it is complex. But the quilt is outstanding. Okay, yep, I got coverage. Okay, I'll get a bigger seam on this one. Grab another half square triangle, or a square that's been ironed into a half square triangle. Here we go. Also, we're kind of looking for comments on the camera angle. Like, do you prefer these different camera angles, or, you know, I'm hoping you guys get to see more of what, you know, what you're looking for. You know, because we are having nothing but probably hope this new way solves the problems with the camera angles, but we need to know. Let us know in the comments, right? So, and the last one goes on. And there we go. We'll get this all the way up. No, this one is just not lie flat. Okay, there we go. Well, the last of the flying geese done. I like flying geese as a unit. I just think they're all so much fun. I'm a little shy on this side. Maybe I need to, I didn't sew them all wrong, did I? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. They're shy, a little shy, but that'll have to do. They're within that. It's all the shy is part of the seam allowance, so I'll make it work. I'll make it work. Okay, there. Now, go back to changing feet again. So you put it all back together. I was probably sewing on the wrong side of the block is what I was doing, but it's not that bad. So I'm just going to leave it. Let's see. Okay, so now we're going to take these subunits and make a 4.5-inch square out of them. Okay. Now we don't have any points we have to match up because all these points go to the outside. So that they would be taken care of within your sashing. Okay, so that's one of the nice things about this block is you don't have to worry about losing a point. Okay, you do, however, need to make the sides. And that didn't flip. No, that didn't flip. Yay! Okay. There. There we go. So now we're going to take this one next. You just take your time, line them up. There. There we go. Now, it'd be interesting to know if you guys like this camera angle better, whether you're able to see more with it or what. Okay, let's get all the flying geese the right way. Here we go. There, we don't mess up those corners. Okay, now, with this, you can either press this way, because it will lie flat, or press the other way. This is entirely up to you, because you're not fighting a lot of weird seams, right? And that's very helpful on this block. Okay, so I'm just going to press up to the goose, and I'm going to run a couple of these through. I'm going to actually run all of them through so they stay together as little pairs. And I'll show you the little bonus block I get out of this, because why waste fabric, right? We have our scraps and we hold on to them dearly. I don't know if you can see that all that well. Okay, can you see how I've laid it out? Okay, I'm just going to quickly run through these. Let's run them through and make a couple of, I guess I could make a couple of pinwheels. Yeah, let's make some pinwheels. I like pinwheels, little pinwheels. Little pinwheels are cute. They always add movement in a quilt, right? They create this. Now if I had a pale little triangle, it would be okay. But I've got one darker, one medium. It'll be fine. There we go. I'll get the last of this. Okay, here we go. Now, let's start our webbing. I'm going to take the top two from the left side, and I'm going to just put them together like that. Webbing is always important. This way you keep all of your blocks in the right order. Okay, and we'll just take off all those little triangles. And these two, right? There we go. I suppose I should have pressed that differently, but I'm going to create a little bit of bulk because I've got them all pressed out. And it's going to create a bit of bulk right in the center along these two seam lines, but that's okay. And let's get that. Okay, I guess we got to get something with this. And this is what I would do while I'm sewing, right? Like while I'm sewing a block. You know, I would, if I'm sewing a stack of them, I would, you know, keep this, I would work with the little bonus triangles right away because they build up very quickly. And if you don't manage them, you know, like on a block like this, if you don't keep them kind of in check, they just go crazy. And you have a big pile of stuff that you have no idea what's going on. So it doesn't take long to just trim off those little blocks and make them into a usable little piece of something. I know. You hear that all the time. Don't waste. Don't waste your scraps. I know. Okay, so they're going to nest, and I'm nesting to match up this end, the middle, so I can trim the outer sides. That's how you don't worry about, you just sew them together and then you trim them up later, right? So that's why that works. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to open it up so you can see where I'm at. And I'll show you where I'm at there. Okay, so now we've got this going on, right? So we're just going to web the next row. Okay. It looks strange as you're doing this, but once you get used to doing this, and if you were doing, let's say you were doing 100 blocks or, you know, 30 blocks for a quilt. So you're going to make a quilt out of this, you know, and you'd have to have 30 blocks. Well, suddenly you can do this, you know, you just web them and then you can take them somewhere, right? Or you know, you work on all the subunits, you web them, and you can get, you know, you take it to a sew date retreat, and you do a little sewing and then you web them together with stashing. Once you learn how to do all that, this quilting is so much easier to manage, right? Because you're not fighting with stuff. You know, it's just all there, it's all managed, and it's all good. Okay, let's get this just here. There we go. Now, let's get the other one together, the other pinwheel. Like I say, these are, I save these. And when we do our orphan block challenge, all of that kind of stuff here is going to be in that orphan block challenge. So, you know, none of this stuff gets wasted. And the orphan block challenge is coming up as well as the psychedelic snowflake. And I don't know, I'm thinking we're going to try and do a couple other fun little ones as little sidebars. So we'll see how this goes. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. So the only thing when I'm doing them like this is I am lining up, because these are all different sizes, right? Or they could be different sizes. I'm lining up this point and this point, and then feeding them through, because that's the only thing I'm going to worry about. Then I'll square them up, or I'll square them once I'm done. And I'll give them a good press. But I want all those seams to match so I have perfect little centers, right? And now we take off the big block. See, so it's kind of a built-in leader and ender, right? So here we go. Now I have to decide whether I want this to go in. I guess I want this to be pressed out and this to go in. No, this has to be pressed out. Hang on. This has to be pressed in. Okay. So the center gets pressed in on itself and the outside bits get pressed out away from the arrow. Right? So this is going this way. This is going in this way. These are going in. These are going out. And this is going out. Okay. Just so you get all your pressing thing going on. Because that's another thing people are asking for. How do you press them? Well, you press, sometimes you've got fabric that just will not press a certain way. And you put them together, it doesn't matter how hard you try, they're not happy. And they're going to insist on being pressed some way. And you know, sometimes you just gotta deal with it. That's when you bring out your hammer too. You try and force them to sit flat, but you know, sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that one nests nice. No, it's not nesting nice. Why is it not nesting? Okay. There we go. Finally, nice. There. And now I'm pressing one this way and the other one the other way. And I'm going to run it through to make my little pinwheel. There we go. And that's the center nice. Run it through. Okay. You can do the same thing with leader and enders, right? There's people that do the same thing with leader and enders, and that works. It works great if you got a bunch of leader and enders to work, but I've got little bonus blocks, so I'm gonna bonus triangles, so I'm gonna make some bonus triangles. Okay, let's get this clipped so I can actually get in there and see what I'm doing. Okay, go. There we go. Here. Now, make sure that this fits nice. Nice nesting. Yes, it does. Okay. And the last little pinwheel before we get to our big ta-da moment. One goes down, the other goes up. There we go. And the only thing we're trying to nest now is that center. And it doesn't matter if one is long, these things are longer, one is longer than the other. Because the only thing that matters is our center. Right? Because we're putting this one under for squaring. Okay, now we get to our big ta-da moment. Okay, this is our block that we've sewn today called arrows, pointing arrows. Now, this turned out to be kind of fun. You could have so much fun with this, just doing a little scrappy thing. If all you have is little scrappy triangles and 2.5-inch squares, it works great. You could also substitute your 2.5-inch squares with your little pinwheels, right? I mean, you've got, if you sew all your flying geese first, you have these. You know, you can create these so that you would have this instead of a square. But it's all up to you. You decide this is what, there's just different little design things that you can do. Like I say, you can also put beam blocks in the side, you know, have another color there and just, you know, have fun with your blocks and play with them and see what you can do different. So And these worked out to perfect, I just finished trimming them up to perfect 2.5-inch little baby pinwheels. So they are so stinking cute. And because I took the time to match the centers and not worried about what the outside looked like until later, both of them have perfect points. I'm just going to get my cameraman just to hold that up for just half a second so you can see those points all come together very, very well because they're all nested in the back. So I hope you have an amazing week ahead and all is well with you and your family. Okay, until we meet again, I want you to take care and have a great week. Bye! My husband and I would love to thank you for coming along with us on our quilting journey and the YouTube adventure that we're on. We have some wonderful plans for 2023, and it includes a lot more, like with the Facebook group and the rooms feature and sewing and hanging out with people. Those monthly Zoom sew dates are still in the works. We have a lot of fun ideas coming up for 2023, and we hope you share, like, and subscribe with your friends. That little notification button and subscribing to us really helps us out. Commenting helps us out too. So if you like what you're seeing, let us know. Even send us a heart on the comment. That helps so much for us. Okay, you have an absolutely fabulous 2023, and all of our best wishes for you in the future. Okay, take care. Bye.